How's it going, guys and gals? This is Anthony. Today we're back at it with a new video on the channel. I was gonna upload Robocop yesterday, but I decided since Worlds Collide is on a Friday, let's leave Robocop for Wednesday and Saturday. Let's do a review of Worlds Collide Las Vegas. Worlds Collide Las Vegas for me was not as good as Worlds Collide on LA, but it has some pretty good stuff here. We had 6 matches on the show and Penta's appearance, and let's talk about it. So if you like this type of content, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So here are the matches. Obviously, the show kicked off with the Lucha Showcase match, where it was Mascarita Sagrada, La Parca, Octagon Jr., and Laredo Kid, who was a last-minute replacement for Niño Hamburguesa because he could not get his visa out on time. So he had some visa problems. So that's why he wasn't on this show. So they face off against Mini Abismo Negro, the LWO represented by Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde, and Lince Dorado. And obviously, just like in Worlds Collide in LA, the LWO once again working as heels on a AAA show, which maybe that's something that may happen in the future where the LWO may go heel. Who knows? But there were some pretty good spots here that I really like when Cruz del Toro, I think was, I don't know if it was Octagon or Laredo Kid that was gonna give Cruz del Toro a Spanish fly from the top rope, and he fell on his feet, and then he looked at the camera and he was like, no. I thought that was such a great spot. Octagon almost got destroyed. For a moment I thought that he got injured because he was holding his arm, but then he was okay. I hope he's okay. I actually really like the mini dance off that Joaquin Wilde had with La Parca. Him dancing to Thriller, and then Joaquin Wilde thinking he's Shakira or something. I actually thought that was pretty funny. And obviously Mini Abismo Negro and Mascarita Sagrada did a pretty good job here, showing why the minis division has always had a place in wrestling. And obviously, this was a Lucha Showcase. There wasn't that much of a story going in. It was just, hey, let's just book a good match for the sake of a good match, just to start the show off hot. So the finish came in when Mascarita Sagrada and Mini Abismo Negro were going at it, and then after a while, Mascarita Sagrada schoolboys Mini Abismo Negro for the 1, 2, 3, the baby faces when like the people pop. Great stuff. You know what I mean? So for me, this was a pretty good opener for what it was. It was good. Next up, we had, what I think was the match of the night. And these two ladies went at 70%, but them going at 70% is better than the 100% of most wrestlers. It was Natty versus Fabi Apache. I actually loved this match. I love how they went, with the holds, like the grappling and stuff. That is the type of wrestling that I like. I do not like the flippy stuff that much. I do not like brawling. I like, um, when the match is grounded, going hold, countering a hold into another hold. I actually really like that. Obviously, this is a consequence from what's been happening since before Triple Mania 33, where Fabi and Natty have been going at it. All, and obviously, they went at it after Lady Flammer defeated both of them to retain the Reina de Reinas championship. And I actually really like this match. Like, I actually really like that for Heat. Natty put on the surfboard, put Natty put Fabi on the surfboard, and I'm like, great Heat, because Las Vegas has a big Mexican audience. The surfboard submission hold was created in Mexico, which the commentators, I was watching the Spanish feed, so the commentators clearly pointed that out. The people put Natty in that moment because they knew what she was doing. That's good heat. This is how you get heat, ladies and gentlemen. This is how you get heat. This is how you get heat. I was applauding. I'm like, Natty is one of the greatest female wrestlers of all time. And for the people that doubted that, just that little detail pointed out why she is. And then once again, and obviously, Fabi fighting from underneath. Every time she had a little bit of fire, Natty would cut her off. I really loved the ankle lock spot where Natty put Fabi on the ankle lock, and then Fabi countered it. And I know I am jumping myself, but I'm just talking about the best spots on the matches. I actually love the ankle lock spot where Natty put Fabi on, and then Fabi countered it into an ankle lock of her own, which led to Fabi attempting to put Natty on the sharpshooter. And I was like, no way she's gonna make Natty tap out with her move. And the finish was pretty creative here, because it's telling the story that Fabi beat herself. Fabi beat herself because she was gonna put Natty on the sharpshooter. Natty gets out of it. Natty gets put on a roll up by Fabi. Natty reverses the roll up and wins and becomes the number one contender for the Reina de Reinas championship against Lady Flammer, who's on a 700 plus day reign. 700 plus days as Reina de Reinas champion. And I think this feud is going to continue. And obviously after the match, they wanted to go at it. Natty left the ring. The work these two ladies put in was excellent. I don't give a damn if people's opinions on this match. This is objectively the best in-ring match in the entire show. Wow, like, it was very hard to follow this, because then we had the AAA Tag Team Championship match where Pagano and Psycho Clown would defend against Xavier Woods and Grayson Waller, who was a last minute replacement for Xavier Woods. And I really love how they were treating it like Xavier Woods with the list, trying to get the Canadian Destroyer band, and I actually really like this because once again another Easter egg that Chris Jericho has signed with WWE. They're making a list. You know, you just made the list, you stupid idiot. So I'm actually really like this because obviously it's another Easter egg that Chris Jericho is coming back at the Royal Rumble. You are continuing the story of Xavier Woods trying to ban the Mexican Destroyer, and obviously, you know, like Xavier Woods has a legitimate neck injury. So, since he has a legitimate neck injury, and you doing this to ban the Mexican Destroyer is actually a pretty good way to continue that story without him getting bumps. And you know, I've never gave a like Jim Cornette says, I've never given a French fry titty fuck about Grayson Waller. The guy doesn't have it. He should just be, you know, a a job guy that gets beat in 45 seconds. That's his position on the card. Why was this match that competitive? I don't get it. What the hell does the company see in Grayson Waller? They think he's like Miz. He's not a Miz. You know, because I don't get it. This match should have ended after 45 seconds. I didn't care. I actually really like the finish. The finish was pretty creative because Xavier Woods was interfering and Psycho Clown excuse me, and Psycho Clown starts holding his head and he rips off the front part of his mask to reveal another mask another mask underneath of a scary clown, practically showing his own insides, let's put it that way. And Xavier Woods, what a great chicken shit heel he is, because he saw that and he ran away and never came back. And obviously, you know, 1, 2, 3, Pagan and Psycho Clown are still your AAA tag team champions. Next up, we had Lola Vice and Mr. Iguana versus Finn Balor and Roxanne Perez. Oh, and obviously, you know, there's consequences from what happened on like Triple Mania. You know, the Judgment Day beat Mr. Iguana, Lola, and Niño Hamburguesa. Lola Vice trying to break up a relationship, and she's the babyface, by the way. Let's just leave it at that. People like homewreckers. But yeah, you know, Finn Balor came out with a bag. We all knew what was in the bag. It was the Monito. You know, I actually was surprised that they had Mr. Iguana take as much of the heat during this match as he did. I thought that Lola, being the least experienced out of the out of the five people involved here, because Raquel was on Finn's and Raquel's corner. I actually thought that since Lola is the least experienced out of the four, she would have been like the one taking the heat. But no, they save her for the hot tag and the comeback, which I was really surprised by. They have Mr. Wanna take the heat. And man, ever since WWE sent Lola down to AAA, she's been killing it. She's been great. She's improved a lot. You know, let's just say she's improved a lot. And she's improved a lot. And obviously we had JC Jane ringside, you know, to promote the match. on No Mercy between her and Lola for the NXT Women's title. Could that be Lola Vice's night? Who knows? So I actually really like once Jessica and Demonito face off once again. I actually really like the shot here where like Finn Balor comes from behind Mr. Iguana and he has the Monito, and Jessica is telling Mr. Iguana, behind you, man, behind you. And obviously the highlight of the entire match, Jessica doing a picture perfect suicide dive on Demonito. And obviously the Bayfaces win. That was pretty obvious since the heels won on Triple Mania. Obviously the Bayfaces were gonna win here. And on the semi, and I know I haven't talked about the opener with Penta, but since that has something to do with the main event, I'm not gonna touch it. That's why I didn't touch it. I haven't forgotten about it. But since it ties to the main event, I'll speak about it on due time. On the semi main event, we had the Fatal 4-Way match for the AAA Latin American Championship, where Dr. Wagner III defended the title against Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, who's the other half of the World Tag Team Champions alongside Finn Balor, and the NXT North American Champion, Ethan Page. This match showed me that Ethan Page deserves to be on the main roster yesterday. Like, he has to drop the NXT North American title as soon as possible and go to the main roster. JD McDonough, great bumper here. Dragon Lee looked amazing here. Obviously, they tried. Dr. Wagner III was not as involved in the sequences in this match because he was, like the guy that all all three guys were trying to get out of the equation, and that had something to do with the finish. So I actually really like that they recreated the finish from Backlash 2007. Like where everybody's knocked out, and one guy by coincidence falls on top of the other. Pinfall 1-2 kick out, which is a recreation of the Backlash 2007 finish, where John Cena retained the WWE title against Shawn Michaels and Rated RKO in a Fatal 4-Way match, which by that same finish is how Ethan Page won the NXT title. By coincidence, in a Fatal 4-Way. So, nice little touch there. I actually really like, how people use Dragon Lee's mask to his own dismay, tying him to the rope. I actually really like JD McDonough. JD McDonough was doing good here, and obviously they were trying to hide some deficiencies that Dr. Wagner III has, but he's still young. He's still on his 20s. I'm not expecting a 28-year-old to be the greatest wrestler of all time. They won't. That's done with experience and working with professionals like a Dragon Lee, like a JD McDonough, like an Ethan Page, that know how to get a babyface over or a heel over. Especially JD McDonough and Ethan Page. And obviously the finish came in, and excuse me, where Ethan Page gave his finish to, I think, JD McDonough, right? Dr. Wagner III takes Ethan Page out of the equation. Cover, one, two, three. Still your AAA Latin American champion, Dr. Wagner III. And actually, really like how the camera panned to Ethan Page, and he was so mad on the apron, like teasing something maybe between Wagner III and Ethan Page, Latin American title versus North American title, the Americas title. Who knows? But yeah, I actually really like this match. It wasn't. If Fabi versus Nari had not been on the show, the Fatal 4 Way would have been the best match on the show. So now we go to the main event. But first, but before talking about the main event, something that ties here is the opening segment with Penta coming out, practically, rallying up the crowd, getting them ready for the show. And he challenged the winner of Dominic versus Vikingo for the Mega Championship. He said, I don't care who wins, I got next. And obviously, he said all of this on Spanish. And man, when Penta does promos in Spanish, he just oozes charisma. He just oozes charisma. It's so amazing. So now we go to the main event. But before that, on SmackDown, they showed Rey Mysterio being interviewed by Vero Rodriguez. So if you don't know who Vero Rodriguez is, she works with the sports department on Telemundo on the Spanish broadcast for the Premier League. And also some people may know her as Finn Balor's wife. And there's something pretty interesting here that people did not notice, and I didn't, and I think I was the only one to catch on. So, Ray's been interviewed. Dominic interrupts and he tells Ray, when I win tonight, you need to put the Mega Championship on around my waist. And Ray says, if you win, I'll do it. And then after Ray leaves, Finn Balor comes in and he says, you need to win without help, buddy. And people did not catch this, but Vero, who is Finn Balor's wife, said, I don't think he can. So you're already building even more dissension in the Judgment Day. So, but obviously she said it on Spanish, but people, did not catch up onto it. So now we have the main event, and I'm just gonna tell you here, guys, there was no chemistry here. Like, the people booing Vikingo and cheering Dominic. Dominic is a heel, but he had to work as a baby face. But then Vikingo was not working heel. He was working like a babyface. He was trying to be like a powerhouse, and he almost messed up Dominic because Dominic's so much taller than him. I'm just gonna cut down to the chase. The match got better when the Judgment Day came in, trying to interfere. Then Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio fought them off. Then came El Grande Americano. He almost got his mask ripped out. And, flying headbutt, frog splash, 1, 2, 3. Dominic is a double champion. He's mega champion and intercontinental champion. Rey Mysterio obviously comes in. And and I actually and this was actually pretty good because I do not know if this is something. Maybe the Mega Championship will be defended on WrestleMania. I sure hope so. That would be huge for AAA, for that match to for a match of that caliber to be on WrestleMania. Would put them. It would give them more exposure. So Ray comes in with the Mega Championship. Dominic gets into his face. He starts screaming. He's saying, "You better effing put the title on my waist, you stupid mother beep. Put the title on me, you son of a beep." And then he puts the title around Dominic's waist. And now he says, "Get out of my ring." The Judgment Day comes in. El Grande Americano comes in. He's like, fuck. He was like, "I don't care about the Judgment Day." He hugs El Grande Americano. They celebrate, and you see on the back another great camera shot here. Just like the one before with Iguana and Balor, we've got a great camera shot here where we see Finn Balor and JD McDonough talking about something. So, Dominic, you're about to get Randy Orton. You won the big one, now you're gonna get expelled. So, obviously, I think the long term plan here is for Balor and Dominic to go for the Mega Championship. Obviously, Dominic as a babyface. And obviously, like when, Shaq Gable got injured in June, right? And then that's when Kaiser took over the gimmick. I think, AAA has a big event in December. So maybe Shaq Gable returns there and he could be like a very good first challenger for Dominic, right? Like a very good challenger for Dominic. But, final thoughts on the show. For me, this show was not better than the one in Los Angeles. This was not better than Triple Mania 33, but it was still pretty good. If I had to tell people something, just go watch. If you want to see a good match for the sake of a good match, watch the Lucha Showcase, Fabi versus Natty, the mixed tag, and the Fatal 4-Way. And the finish of the Mega Championship match. Like Psycho Clown and Pagano. Oh, I forgot to mention about the Psycho Clown versus Pagano. I forgot to mention this. Oh my god, I passed over my notes. I am recording this at 8 something in the morning. I just woke up, so I completely forgot about this. The Wyatt Six came out after Pagano and Psycho Clown retained. And they beat the hell out of them. And you see, I see Grayson Waller and I just black myself out that I almost forgot to talk about the best thing of that match. Like, the Wyatt Six came out and they beat the hell out of Pagano and Psycho Clown. Then after that, Rowan took the AAA Tag Team titles and he was holding them high. So, who are gonna be the ones to challenge Psycho Clown and Pagano? Is it gonna be Gacy and Loomis? Gacy and Loomis are already the WWE Tag Team Champions. I think this may be Eric Rowan and Uncle Howdy going for the AAA Tag Team titles, which I think could be pretty interesting. Rowan in Mexico could be some pretty huge money. But now that I remember that before wrapping up the video, I apologize. If you like this type of content, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Cherish beautiful moments with your families, create beautiful memories because life's too short, but those memories last a lifetime. As always, this is Anthony signing off. Bye bye.